You know,
family
that is just so outrageous, Judge.
I've had
That
this
really
woman
is.
for a year, and I'm asking
She hasn't listened to anything for a year. She's only been on this case for 4 months.
Not about him.
Mr. Depp is making it about Mr. Depp, right?
Ironically.
It's kind of like that Carly Simon song.
Got little girls trapped in the basement, helicopters over my house, trying to...
The higher they climb, the harder they fall. In Hollywood, decades of carefully built reputations can crumble overnight. Sometimes all it takes is one reckless tweet, one leaked photo, or one drunken mistake. And when celebrities crash, they don't just make headlines, they make history. From jaw-dropping meltdowns to scandals that dominated the news for weeks, some of these moments were so bizarre they felt scripted. But if there's one thing Hollywood proves time and time again, it's that reality is always stranger than fiction, and way messier. Winona Ryder is caught shoplifting. Winona Ryder went from Hollywood's sweetheart to tabloid scandal in the blink of an eye. In 2001, sandwiched between Oscar nominations and future success on Stranger Things, she made headlines for all the wrong reasons, getting caught shoplifting over $55,000 worth of merchandise. Security footage showed her strolling past 3 cash registers with an armful of designer clothes and handbags before heading straight out the door. Not exactly a subtle move. She faced multiple charges, including burglary and grand theft, with an added drug possession charge that was later dropped. The incident wrecked her clean-cut image and led to a 4-year break from acting. Ryder later admitted it was a dark chapter in her life, but somehow she pulled off a comeback that not many in Hollywood get. Depp versus Heard, the courtroom spectacle. Hollywood has produced its fair share of courtroom dramas, but none quite like the real-life trial of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. This wasn't just a legal battle. It was a media storm that had the world watching every twist and turn. It all started when Heard accused Depp of domestic violence. In response, Depp sued for defamation, claiming her allegations were not only false, but had severely damaged his career. The trial quickly became one of the most talked about in recent history, with explosive testimonies, leaked audio, and endless debates over who was telling the truth. Depp's lawsuit centered on Heard's 2018 op-ed in The Washington Post, where she described herself as a victim of domestic abuse. While she never mentioned Depp by name, he argued that the implications were clear and costly. Heard, in turn, filed a counterclaim, stating that statements made by Depp's legal team had also defamed her. In the end, the jury ruled in Depp's favor on most of his claims, agreeing that Heard's statements were defamatory. However, they also sided with Heard on one of her counterclaims. While Depp secured the bigger legal victory, both walked away with reputations that would never be the same. And as for public opinion, that battle is still playing out. Diddy's legal troubles. Sean Diddy Combs has been making headlines for decades. Music, fashion, billion-dollar business moves. But this time, it's got nothing to do with Bad Boy Records or Ciroc. This time, he's facing a federal indictment that could land him in prison for the rest of his life. And the list of charges, let's just say, it's not your average celebrity scandal. Prosecutors claim Combs wasn't just building an empire, he was allegedly running a full-blown criminal enterprise, from bribery to obstruction of justice, and a lot of illegal activities happening behind the scenes. And that's just the surface. The charges also include sex trafficking, with allegations that he exploited individuals for commercial sex acts against their will. Then there's forced labor. Prosecutors say he kept people under his control using threats and actual violence. And somehow it gets worse. He's also facing kidnapping charges, accused of unlawfully confining people and making sure they had no way out. If convicted, Combs could be looking at 15 years to life in prison. He has pleaded not guilty, but for now, he's sitting in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, waiting for his trial in May 2025. But somehow, out of all the serious allegations, the internet latched onto one detail: the 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant found during the federal raids. 1,000. At that point, we're not talking personal use, we're talking wholesale distribution. Prosecutors say the stockpile was linked to drug-fueled parties, what insiders called freak-offs, where people were allegedly coerced into non-consensual acts. His lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, brushed it off, saying Combs is just a guy who likes to buy in bulk. Maybe he hit up a Costco sale, who knows? R. Kelly's crimes. For years, whispers surrounded R. Kelly's relationships with underage girls, but he always seemed to slip through the cracks. That changed in the 2010s when survivors began speaking out, and the documentary Surviving R. Kelly laid everything bare. It wasn't just rumors anymore, it was a pattern of abuse spanning decades. In 2022, justice finally caught up with him. He was sentenced to 31 years in prison for crimes including sex trafficking and child exploitation. The verdict wasn't just a fall from grace for the singer, it was a turning point in how the industry and the public handle accusations of abuse. Jimmy Savile. From national treasure to national disgrace. For decades, Jimmy Savile was a beloved figure in the UK, an eccentric TV host and tireless charity fundraiser. But after his death in 2011, horrifying allegations surfaced. It turned out that Savile had used his status to abuse hundreds of victims, many of whom were children. The sheer scale of the crimes was mind-blowing, and people were left wondering how he managed to escape justice for so long. His legacy was wiped out overnight, and his name became synonymous with one of the biggest scandals in British history. Roseanne Barr's career-ending tweet. Roseanne Barr, the sharp-tongued comedian behind the hit sitcom Roseanne, was at the top of her game when ABC brought the show back in 2018. The reboot smashed ratings, proving her comedy still resonated decades later. But just as quickly as it returned, it was gone. In May 2018, Roseanne Barr posted a tweet targeting former Obama advisor Valerie Jarrett. In that tweet, she compared Jarrett to an ape, a comment that ignited a firestorm online and ultimately led to the cancellation of her show. The backlash was immediate, and ABC wasted no time pulling the plug. Roseanne tried to explain it away, blaming everything from Ambien to a misunderstanding, but the damage was done. It was a harsh reminder that in the age of social media, one bad tweet can erase everything you've built. Mel Gibson's DUI and anti-Semitic rant. Nobody looks good after a DUI arrest, but Mel Gibson managed to make it 10 times worse. In 2006, after being pulled over for drunk driving, he launched into an anti-Semitic rant that made headlines worldwide. The backlash was brutal. Hollywood distanced itself from him, and his career took a serious nosedive. Today, Mel Gibson is still very much involved in the film industry as both an actor and a director. Even with his past controversies still lingering over him, he's been working on projects that allow him to focus on his craft. His direction of Hacksaw Ridge in 2016, for example, earned him critical praise and marked a turning point in his career comeback. Chris Brown and Rihanna. The assault that shook Hollywood. Chris Brown and Rihanna were once seen as music's golden couple until a violent incident in 2009 changed everything. During an argument, Brown physically assaulted Rihanna, leaving her with a black eye, cuts and bruises that were later documented in leaked photos. These images sent shockwaves through the public and sparked a nationwide conversation about domestic violence. Brown was charged with felony assault, and after pleading guilty, he received a sentence that included probation, 180 days of community service, and 1 year of domestic violence counselling. Though Brown has tried to move forward with his career, the memory of that night continues to haunt both him and many fans, serving as a stark reminder of how quickly everything can fall apart. Ellen DeGeneres. The Be Kind facade crumbles. For years, Ellen DeGeneres was known as the queen of daytime TV, a fun, friendly, be kind advocate. But in 2020, reports emerged of a toxic work environment behind the scenes of her show. Former employees described a culture of fear, intimidation, and even sexual harassment from senior producers. The revelations tanked her ratings, and by 2021, Ellen announced her show was ending. Turns out being nice on camera doesn't mean much if your workplace tells a different story. Kanye West versus George W. Bush. In 2005, after Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans, Kanye West took the mic during a live telethon and went completely off script. He called out the media's portrayal of black families versus white families, then dropped a bombshell. George Bush doesn't care about black people. The statement stunned his co-host Mike Myers, and the clip instantly went viral. The backlash was intense. Bush later called it one of the worst moments of his presidency. Kanye, being Kanye, eventually apologized, but the moment cemented itself in pop culture history. Eminem versus the Cheneys. Eminem has never been one to shy away from controversy, and in 2000 he found himself in the crosshairs of Lynn Cheney, wife of then-future VP Dick Cheney. She accused him of promoting violence against women and even called for his record label to drop him. M's response? He fired back in his 2002 album The Eminem Show, taking shots at Lynn in songs like Without Me and White America. And in the Without Me music video, he went as far as electrocuting a Dick Cheney lookalike. Classic Eminem. Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin's college admission scandal. Turns out getting into top universities isn't just about grades. It can also be about bribing the right people. In 2019, the FBI busted a massive college admissions scam where wealthy parents paid big money to get their kids into elite schools. Actresses Felicity Huffman, Desperate Housewives, and Lori Loughlin, Full House, were among those caught. Huffman paid $15,000 to rig her daughter's SAT, while Loughlin shelled out a whopping $500,000 to fake her daughter's athletic career. Both ended up serving short stints in prison, proving that even Hollywood stars aren't above the law, at least not entirely. Janet Jackson's wardrobe malfunction. Super Bowl 2004, halftime show. Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson. Everything was going smoothly until the infamous wardrobe malfunction. At the end of Rock Your Body, Timberlake yanked at Janet's costume, briefly exposing her chest and upper body on live TV. The backlash was insane. Over 500,000 complaints flooded the FCC. CBS got slapped with a $550,000 fine, later overturned, and Janet's career took a major hit. Timberlake, not so much. The incident is now infamous, not just for the exposure, but for the double standard in how the two stars were treated afterward. Kanye West interrupts Taylor Swift. 2009 VMAs. Taylor Swift wins Best Female Video. She's up there, all smiles, thanking everyone, until Kanye West storms the stage, grabs the mic, and delivers his now legendary line, "Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'ma let you finish, but Beyoncé had one of the best videos of all time." Awkward silence. Even Beyoncé looked mortified. Kanye later apologized, then retracted his apology, then referenced it in a song. Of course he did. Jussie Smollett's fake hate crime. In 2019, Empire actor Jussie Smollett claimed he was attacked by two men in MAGA hats who put a noose around his neck and yelled racist and homophobic slurs. The public was outraged until things started unraveling. Turns out the attackers were actually two Nigerian brothers who knew Smollett, and they later admitted he had paid them to stage the whole thing. Smollett was convicted of filing a false police report and sentenced to 150 days in jail. Safe to say, his career never recovered. Martha Stewart's insider trading. Martha Stewart, the queen of home decor and recipes, also had a side gig, insider trading. In 2002, she sold 3,900 shares of a biotech company right before the stock tanked. The problem? She had inside information. The law didn't take kindly to that, and she was convicted on multiple felony counts, serving 5 months in a federal prison. Nothing says domestic goddess like a criminal record. Tiger Woods' cheating scandal. In 2009, Tiger Woods wasn't just a great golfer in the world, he was the best golfer in the world. He had the trophies, the endorsements, and a picture-perfect family, until one scandal turned it all upside down. Rumours of an affair turned into a full-blown scandal when multiple women came forward. The media went into a frenzy and sponsors bolted. Gatorade, AT&T and Accenture all dropped him, costing him over $100 million. Nike stayed, but the damage was done. And then came the divorce, with Elin Nordegren reportedly walking away with a settlement worth tens of millions. Woods stepped away from golf, worked on his personal recovery, and slowly rebuilt his life, capping it all off with his stunning 2019 Masters win. And that's a wrap. If you enjoyed it, smash that like button and subscribe for more. See you in the next one.